Okay, so when most people think Narnia, it's wardrobes, maybe some snow, talking
Yep.
animals, right? A kid's fantasy classic.
Totally. And look, that enchantment is real. It's what pulls you in as a kid. What we're digging into today, based on, the sources, is that there's just so much more under the surface.
Exactly. This isn't just about nostalgia. We're aiming to unpack, what, 10 specific ideas? Really potent messages C.S. Lewis seems to have woven into these stories.
Yeah, about life, belief, human nature, even the spiritual side of things. It's like finding hidden layers.
hmm The idea is, by the time we wrap up, you listening might see some things, maybe even in your own life, a little differently, those little aha moments.
Hopefully. So where do we start? The beginning.
Makes sense. Let's start with the most famous bit of furniture in literature, maybe. The wardrobe. It's more than just a way into Narnia, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, yes, literally it's the portal. That's the story function.
Yep.
But symbolically, our understanding points to it representing, well, an unseen reality, something beyond just the physical worlds we touch and see every day.
Like a spiritual dimension.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Or just the idea that there's more to existence than meets the eye. Think about it, a hidden door in an ordinary room. It suggests possibilities lurking just beyond our normal perception.
So Lewis is maybe nudging us to think there's more going on than we usually notice, especially maybe when we feel swamped by just stuff, information overload.
That's a great way to put it. It's an invitation, perhaps, to look for those deeper layers, to not just accept the surface level of things, to metaphorically step through the wardrobe sometimes.
Interesting. Okay, from the entrance to the ruler, Aslan. He's obviously central, but he's not just a wise-talking lion, is he? There's a lot packed into that character.
A huge amount. He's clearly presented, and the sources are pretty direct here, as a symbol of a higher divine power.
The Christ parallels are hard to miss.
They really are. The sacrifice for Edmund, the death, the resurrection, defeating evil. It's quite explicit.
So what does that teach us beyond the allegory? About leadership, maybe.
Well, look at how he leads. It's not through brute force alone. It's sacrificial love, incredible courage, a deep sense of justice, but also humility. Real strength shown in giving, not just taking or demanding.
It makes you think about what we look for in leaders today, doesn't it? Or admire in people generally.
Exactly. Does that kind of selfless strength resonate with figures you respect? It's a question the character kind of implicitly asks.
Okay, let's flip to the other side. The White Witch. Jadis? She's the villain, but what's the deeper layer there? What does she represent?
She's fascinating because she's not just like pure cackling evil. She represents the appeal of false promises. Empty power.
How so? Like with Edmund.
Precisely. Think about what she offers him. Warmth. That addictive Turkish delight, a sense of importance, acceptance, things he desperately wants.
But it's all fake, a trap.
Exactly. It's a lure. It looks good, feels good initially, but the end goal is enslavement, control. It's a classic warning sign, really.
So the message is, be wary of things that seem too easy, too tempting.
Yeah, be cautious.
Yeah.
That shiny offer, that easy path, it might not lead where you truly want to go. It encourages you to look beneath the surface appeal. Have you ever encountered something like that? Appeared great, but wasn't.
I think everyone has, probably. Which sort of leads us to Narnia under her rule, that endless winter, but crucially, always winter and never Christmas. Why that detail?
That specific detail, never Christmas, is key. Our sources suggest this endless winter isn't just bad weather. It symbolizes a kind of spiritual death.
Meaning?
A world stripped of joy, of hope, of genuine celebration and light. Christmas represents that influx of hope and divine presence, right? So its absence signifies a state of, spiritual coldness, oppression.
So it's saying life without goodness, without that light, becomes barren, hopeless.
Pretty much. It suggests we have this inherent need for warmth, for joy, for meaning, for Christmas, metaphorically speaking. Without it, things become bleak and static. It ties into that desire for deeper meaning we talked about.
But even in that bleakness, you have Lucy. She sees Narnia first, believes wholeheartedly, even when the others mock her. What's the takeaway from her persistence?
Lucy's belief is really presented as a model of faith. Simple, unwavering faith.
Even when it seems silly to others.
Especially then. That's the point, right? She holds on to what she knows is true internally, despite the ridicule, despite the lack of proof for the others. It says something powerful about conviction.
That truth exists whether people believe it or not.
Exactly. and that sometimes holding on to what you believe requires you to stand alone, to seem foolish to the world. It's about the courage of your convictions. Have you ever had to stick to a belief when everyone else disagreed? It takes something.
It really does. Okay, let's talk about Edmund again. His story arc is pretty dramatic. Betrayal, hitting rock bottom, but then redemption.
Yeah, Edmund's journey is so relatable, isn't it? Because it mirrors that universal human thing of messing up, sometimes messing up badly.
We all make mistakes.
Right. His betrayal is stark, shows our capacity for bad choices. But the crucial part is what happens after. His journey back, his forgiveness by Aslan.
It shows redemption is possible.
Absolutely. It introduces this powerful idea of grace, something bigger than guilt or shame or failure. The idea that, no one is truly beyond hope if they're willing to turn around, to change. It speaks volumes about second chances.
And that forgiveness comes not because he necessarily earned it in that moment, but because of Aslan's nature.
That's the core of grace, isn't it? Unmerited favor. Which connects interestingly to another concept, the deeper magic. What is that? The witch knows magic, but not this, right? The deeper magic from before the dawn of time. It's deliberately mysterious, but our understanding is that it represents fundamental truths. The witch, embodying a certain kind of evil or selfishness, just cannot comprehend.
Like what kind of truths?
Truths rooted in self-sacrifice, in love, in the very fabric of reality as Aslan understands it. Things like innocence willingly taking the place of the guilty. Evil, focused on power and self, simply doesn't compute that.
So the message is that goodness, or maybe love, is actually more fundamental, more powerful than evil in the grand scheme.
That seems to be the core idea. Evil might seem strong, might understand manipulation and force, but it fundamentally misunderstands or underestimates the power of selfless love and sacrifice. It's a deeper operating system, like you hinted at earlier.
Wow, okay. Shifting slightly, but still with Aslan. That simple phrase he says, courage, dear heart. It's so gentle but powerful.
It really resonates, doesn't it? And the insight there, our sources suggest, is about the nature of courage.
Not being fearless.
Exactly, not being fearless. It's about acknowledging the fear, hence dear heart, acknowledging the vulnerability, but choosing to act despite it, moving forward even when you're afraid.
So true courage isn't loud and boastful necessarily.
Often it's quiet, isn't it? Those internal battles, those moments you choose to do the right thing or the hard thing, even when your knees are knocking, it makes courage feel accessible. You can find that dear heart courage in your own challenges.
That's a lovely thought. Okay, let's jump back in time within the Narnia world to the magician's nephew, the actual creation of Narnia. Aslan sings it into existence. What's the message there?
The creation scene is incredible. Aslan doesn't just snap his fingers, he sings. It's intentional, it's beautiful, it brings forth order and life out of nothingness.
So not random chaos.
Quite the opposite. The message seems to be that beauty, order, life itself, they aren't accidents. They're created with purpose, with love, with intention.
And that extends to us, maybe.
Directly. It's a way of saying, you listening, you weren't an accident either. You were designed, created with care and meaning. It speaks right to that core human search for purpose, doesn't it?
It really does. Which brings us finally to the end. The last battle. It's quite intense, bittersweet. Narnia ends, but there's this idea of the true world.
It is bittersweet. You feel the loss of this world you've come to love through the books, but the message is profound.
What is it, exactly? That Narnia wasn't real?
Not quite. More like, Narnia, even with all its wonder, was a shadow, a reflection, a preview of something even greater, more real, the true Narnia, further up and further in, as they say.
So the goodness and beauty there pointed towards something more substantial.
That's the idea, that the best things in this life, or even in a magical life like Narnia, are echoes of an ultimate reality. And importantly, it reframes death.
How so?
It's not presented as the end, it's a door, a transition into that greater, truer beginning, a passage into that further up and further in. It offers a huge perspective shift.
So when you put all 10 of these together, it's clear C.S. Lewis wasn't just writing adventure stories.
Not at all. The overall intention seems much deeper. Our sources suggest he wanted to awaken something in the reader, a sense of wonder, sure, but also a longing for truth, a way of seeing life itself as this grand, meaningful journey.
Reading them again with these ideas in mind, it really does change the experience.
Absolutely. You start seeing reflections of your own life, your own choices, your own battles and potential woven into the narrative.
Which brings us back to that wardrobe metaphor. The source material ends with that provocative question, doesn't it? Will you be brave enough to step through the wardrobe?
It does. And after exploring all this, that question feels less about finding a fantasy world.
And more about what? Being willing to look deeper in our own lives.
Exactly. Are you willing to explore these deeper meanings,
Mhm.
to engage with truths that might be hidden just beneath the surface of everyday life, to seek out that unseen reality? That's the real invitation, perhaps.
So the real adventure isn't just escaping into Narnia.
Maybe the real adventure starts when we allow Narnia's truths to shape how we see our world. And like the book suggests, perhaps the greatest adventures await those who are willing to believe, willing to step through.